Welcome to another video from McFatter Tech Musser. If you like these videos, please click subscribe.
70-742 Lab 11, Installing and Configuring Active Directory Certificate Services. In this video, we're going to be looking at a few different exercises. We'll be installing a standalone certificate authority. We'll be installing a subordinate certificate server. We'll be configuring a certified revocation list, which is CRL, distribution point. We'll also be installing the online responder role. We'll be performing a CA backup, and we'll also look at managing administrative roles. So we're going to begin working on our CA-SVR machine in our exercise 1, which is installing a standalone certificate authority. In this exercise, we'll install a certificate authority and then configure the server as a root standalone CA. The CA is a Windows Server 2016 server role that verifies the identity of the certificate requesters, issues certificates to requesting users, computers, and services, and manages certificate revocation. So here we're already logged into the three systems that we'll be using. I'm going to go ahead on my CA-SVR1 machine. We're going to go to Manage in Server Manager, Add Roles and Features. And like we typically always do, we're going to click Next about 3 times. And on Roles, we're going to select Active Directory Certificate Services. We'll click Add Features to add the administrative tools. We'll click Next. We're not going to install any other features at this time, so we'll click Next once more. Under the ADCS, we can see what we're going to be doing. We'll click Next. The certification authority is the only role we're going to configure at this time, so we'll click Next and Install. While that installation proceeds, I'm going to go ahead and pause our video. And just like that, through the magic of video, our installation is done. So we can see that our installation is completed, but configuration is still required. Well, to proceed with that configuration, we're going to click Configure Active Directory Certificate Services on the destination server. That's this server. Now our configuration wizard begins. We're going to use the local administrator as the account for it. So we're going to click Next. On the role services, we're going to select the certification authority. It's the only role that we installed, if you remember. And again, we're going to click Next. Under Specify the setup type of the CA, let's answer our first question. Why isn't Enterprise CA available? Well, it's very simple. This system is not joined as part of or hosting a domain, so it cannot host an Enterprise CA. The only option is Standalone CA. So, short answer, the system is not part of a domain. Let's go ahead and click Next. On the CA type, we are going to make sure that root CA is selected. This is our first certificate authority, so it needs to be the root. We're going to click Next. On the private key, on the Specify the type of the private key, it should be set to create a new private key because this is our first one that we're doing right. We're going to click Next. On the Specify the cryptographic options, we have the ability to make some changes here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and answer a couple questions. What is the default key length? Well, if you look on your screen, you can see key length is set to 2048. So by default, our cryptography for our root CA will be set to use a key length of 2048 bits. So 2048 is your answer to question number 2. Let's go ahead. We're going to change that to 4096. And then we're going to click Next. So we're making this a virtually unbreakable key length. Now, under the CA name, let's answer our third question. What is the default CA name? Well, it's right there. Common name for this CA, CA-SVR1-CA. It's as simple as that. You got your answer? Let's click Next. On our validity period, we're going to change the validity period, but before we do that, let's answer question number 4. And that question is, what is the default validity period? You can see it right there. 5. 5 years is your answer to question number 4. Before we click next, we're going to change that value to 10. Now we'll click next. Under CA database, this is where you could specify where you're going to store the database for your certificate authority. We're going to leave the defaults here, but were we on a production machine, perhaps you would store that on a different drive. Let's answer question number 5. Where is the default database and log file location, and why should caution be used here? Well, you can see your default locations are c:\windows system32 /cert log, and just as I just described. The reason that you should use caution is, since it's part of the C drive, that C drive could fill up. This could cause the system to have problems. Our services, when available, we want to store those log files, those database files, those things that are not part of the operating system itself, store them somewhere else. Okay, got your answer? We're going to go ahead and we're going to click next, and we can see our settings. We'll click configure. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause while this completes. Shouldn't take very long though, but back in just a few moments. And just like that, our configuration has succeeded. But before we close that, let's get a screenshot and paste that into step number 22. Got your screenshot? All right. Going to go ahead and close. Okay, and our installation wizard, we can close that as well. Our first exercise is done. Let's move on to our second exercise, which is installing a subordinate certificate authority. We're going to be doing this on our DC1 over on Lund-DC1. So in this exercise, we'll install a subordinate certificate server, which will be installed under the root enterprise CA that's already installed on Lund-DC1. Remember that the top of the certificate hierarchy is the root CA. Because everything branches from the root, it is trusted by all clients within an organization. Although smaller organizations have only one CA, larger organizations have a root CA with multiple CAs. Although the enterprise CA can issue certificates to end users, it's usually used to issue certificates to subordinate CAs. Although there is only one root CA, there can be one or more subordinate CAs. The number of subordinate CAs needed is determined by geographical location and number of clients. We're logged on to our Lund-DC1, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to run a utility. So I'm going to right-click the Start button. I'm going to select Run. I'm going to type CMD, which it happens to be already typed in there from the last time I was in here. You can see it's going to run with administrative privilege. I'm going to click OK. Now we're going to run the cert util, and it's simply cert util. We're going to do a space. We're going to do a dash set reg. We'll type in CA /CRLF LAGS, another space, the plus symbol, and now got to make sure you do this exactly correct. CRLF _ rev check, REVCHECK, another underscore, ignore, IGNORE, another underscore, and then we're going to type offline, OFFLINE. We're going to verify that, cert util space dash set reg space CA /CRLF LAGS, and then plus our string. Yes, it is correct. I'm going to press enter. Okay. You'll notice that it says may need to be restarted for changes to take effect. We're going to go ahead. We can close out our prompt. And we're going to go into our Tools and to our certificate authority, into our certification authority. Once that starts, we're going to right click on the server name. We're going to go to all tasks and tell it to stop the service. Now that it's stopped, we'll right click and we'll say start service. Take just a few moments. Okay, it successfully started. So now we're going to jump to our Lun-SVR1 machine. There, we're going to go to Manage, and we're going to go to Add Roles and Features. Remember, we're doing a subordinate CA. So we're going to go Next, 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 and what are we going to select? Yeah, you got it, Active Directory Certificate Services. We're going to add those features to get those administrative tools in there for us. We'll click Next. We're going to do Next under Features. We're going to go Next. We're just going to do the certification authority here. We'll go ahead, we'll click Next, and we're ready to install. So let's go ahead and install. While the installation takes place, I'm going to pause our video. Alright, so just like when we did our standalone CA, we need to configure our Active Directory Certificate Services. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to click that, and it's saying, hey, what credentials are we going to use? Well, for credentials, we need to change that. I logged on to this as the local administrator. Well, if we're going to do this on the network, we need to use different credentials, don't we? So I'm going to say change, and I'm going to do our domain administrator. So I'm going to type in a datum / administrator and our password. And now we can see we're going to do this with domain administrative credentials. I'm going to click Next. We're going to select that certification authority to configure. Again, we're going to click Next. It's going to be an enterprise CA. We're part of the domain. We click Next. It will be a subordinate CA. Click Next. We are going to create a new private key. Next. For our cryptography for CA page, we're going to change that key length to 4096. And again, click Next. Note our CA name, datum-lun-svr1-CA. That's what we want. We're going to click Next. Now, on the certificate request page, we're going to select Send a Certificate Request to a Parent CA. Remember, this is a subordinate. What was that parent CA name? Let's select. Right there, a datum-lun-dc1-CA, and click OK. It's filled in. It's exactly what we want to see. We're going to go ahead, we're going to click Next. We can see our database locations. We'll click Next, and we're going to click Configure. It's going to take just a few moments. This time, I'm going to leave our video run while it is configuring and retrieving the information. Let's sit back and watch. And just like that, we're done. Now, my students, if you're following along, you should take a screenshot and paste this into step number 29. Remember, your entire screen, paste into step number 29. Okay, you got that screenshot. We're going to close and close. We've installed our subordinate CA. It's done. Our second exercise is over. Let's move on to that third exercise. We're going to stay here on the Lun-SVR machine, and we're going to be configuring a certified revocation list. That's a CRL. This will be the distribution point, right? In this exercise, we'll configure a new certified revocation distribution point. And remember, a CRL is a digitally signed list issued by a CA, and it contains a list of certificates issued by the CA that have been revoked. The list includes all individual revoked certificates, including the serial number of the certificate, the date the certificate was revoked, and the revocation reason. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to Certification Authority. Let's go make this a little bit larger, a little bit easier to see on our screen. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to expand our server name, and we're going to select Revoked Certificates. I'm going to move this over just to make it a little easier to see. We're going to right-click on Revoked Certificates, and we're going to go to Properties. Now, let's answer our sixth question. What is the CRL publication interval, and what is the delta CRL publication interval? Well, respectively, you can see they're 1 week and 1 day. Okay, now that we've answered that question, we'll go ahead. We're going to click OK. And we're going to right-click on our server name. And we're going to go to Properties. It's going to take just a moment for the properties to come up. There they are. Now, what I would like everyone to do is go ahead and select Extensions, the Extensions tab. Let's answer our seventh question. What are the 4 methods used to publish a CRL? Well, right here, CRL distribution point. What are the 4 methods? We can use a local file. We can use LDAP. We could do it through a browser through HTTP. Or we could publish it through a UNC. So there's your 4 methods: local file, LDAP, HTTP, or UNC file. Let's select the HTTP. And we're going to click Remove. Do we really want to remove it? Yes, we do. Let's add an additional CRL point. We're going to click Add. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in HTTP : and then what we're going to do is we're going to select a variable. We're going to select server DNS name from the variable pull down list and insert, just like that. Now we need to add some more variables. So what we want to do is we're going to click on the end of that. We're going to add another slash. We're going to type in cert and roll, another slash. We're going to do our drop down variable, and we're going to go CA name, insert. At the end of that, we're going to do CRL name suffix, right there, insert. Then we're going to do delta CRL allowed, it's right there, insert, and we're going to follow that up with a .CRL. So from beginning to end, you should see HTTP : / and then in your little arrows, server DNS name, another slash, type in cert and roll, another slash, and then within our arrows, CA name, within our arrows, CRL name suffix, within another set of arrows, delta CRL allowed, .CRL. Let's go ahead. We're going to click OK. We've added it in. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot and paste that in to step number 10. You got that screenshot? We're going to go ahead and we're going to click OK. Hey, you got to restart. Do you want to restart now? Yes. Yes, we do. All right. Our exercise 3 is done. Let's move on to our 4th exercise, which is installing the online responder role. In this exercise, we'll install and configure the online responder. An online responder is a trusted server that runs the online responder service and the online responder web proxy to receive and respond to individual client requests for information about the status of a certificate. It implements the Online Certificate Status Protocol, that's OCSP, which allows a recipient of a certificate to submit a certificate status request to a responder by using Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP. This allows you to check the status of an individual certificate. The CRL allows you to see the status of all revoked certificates. We're still on our SVR1, so we're going to I'm going to close the certification authority there. We're going to go to Manage. We're going to go to Add Roles and Features. We're going to click Next. We're going to click Next. On our destination server, we're going to click Next. And on our roles page, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click the little caret to the left of Active Directory Certificate Services. We can see our options. We're going to go ahead and we're going to select Online Responder. You can see we're going to add some more administrative tools. We're going to add those features. We can now click Next. We're going to click Next. We'll select Next. Next. We're ready to install. We're going to allow that installation to run. We'll be back in a moment. All right, and we're back, and our role has been installed. Now we need to configure it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click that link for Configure Active Directory Certificate Services. And here again, let's change those credentials. We're going to use the datum administrator. Would have been easier had I just logged in as the administrator, but not necessary. Click OK. We can see it accepted those credentials. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click Next. We're going to check to configure that online responder. We'll click Next. And we're ready to configure. Let's go ahead. Here again, should only take a moment, and before I could get the words out, it's done. Let's take a screenshot and paste that screen into step number 12. We can go ahead and we can close. Now, we can also close our installation wizard. Let's go ahead, go back into our certification authority. We're going to right click on our datum-lun-svr1-ca. We're going to go to Properties. Once again, we're going to go to that extension tabs once our Properties opens up. There we are. Extensions. And now, under the Select Extension, we're going to drop that down. We're going to select Authority Information Access. What is this is, by the way, this is our 8th question. What is the first entry for the AIA, the Authority Information Access? Well, you can see you're going to need to paste that in. This is going to be your answer for question number 8. So you need to copy this and type that in to question number 8. C:/Windows/System32 and so on and so forth, right? So you can see the /certain role, the slash, and then in arrows, server DNS name, an underscore, in arrows, CA name, and then in arrows, certificate name, .crt. There's your answer for question number 8. Take your time, get that typed in, you're good to go. We're going to click Add. We're going to add an additional, and that location that we're going to use is HTTP. :// and here again we're going to do the drop down and we're going to select server DNS name. Click Insert, and then we're going to do a /OCSP. Got my letters backwards there. There, that looks good, and we're going to click OK. There we are. We've added in. We're going to go ahead and we're going to select include the AIA extension of issued certificates. Right here. Include in the AIA extension of issued certificates. We're also going to click Include in the Online Certificate Status Protocol extension. We're going to go ahead, we're going to take another screenshot now and paste that into step number 20. All right, got that screenshot? Go ahead and click OK. It says, hey, got to restart that certificate services. Yes, we do. Click yes. It's going to take just a few moments for that to restart. All right, there we are. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to expand our certificate authority and see the certificate templates. We're going to right-click that and select Manage. Here again, just going to take just a few moments for it to open up. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, you know why? I bet because we're not logged in as domain administrator. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's see if this works. I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to log back in as the domain administrator. Remember, if you simply type in administrator, it defaults to the local administrator. Should only take a few moments. All right, and I want to get switched over to enhanced mode, so let's give this just a second here. There we go. All right, now what we need to do, let's get back into that certification authority. We're going to expand, we're going to right-click templates and manage. It looks a little bit better. What we're going to do is see down on our list, OCSP response signing. Okay? Double click it. What we're going to do is we're going to select the security tab. We can see authenticated users is already selected. Now, under the permissions for those authenticated users, we're going to select allow for enroll and auto enroll. We're going to click OK. We can go ahead and we can close the certificate templates. We're back to our certificate authority. We're going to right click on that folder and we're going to say new certificate template to issue. Should just take a few moments. Let's scroll down till we see that OCSP response signing, and we're going to select that and we're going to click OK. Now we can see it right there. Let's go ahead and we're going to click up here on Tools again, and you can see we've got the Online Responder Management. Let's select that. On our left-hand column, we're going to right-click Revocation Configuration and choose Add Revocation Configuration. On our wizard, we're going to select Next. And what we're going to type in a datum CA Online Responder. Once you've got that in there, click Next. On the Select CA Certificate location, we are going to leave it just like it is. We're going to click Next. We're going to click Browse for a CA certificate. We are going to select the datum-lun-svr1-CA certificate. We'll click OK. Then we'll click Next. On the Select Signing Certificate, verify that automatically select a signing certificate and auto-enroll for an OCSP signing certificate are both selected. Right here, see them? They are selected. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click Browse. Now our certificate should already be selected, the SVR1-CA, right? So we're going to click OK and verify that OCSP response signing is also selected for the template. Let's go ahead, if you're at this point, take another screenshot and paste that into step number 36. All right, got that? We're going to click Next. We're going ahead, we're setting it up. Should just take a few more moments. And there we are. On our revocation provider page, we can click Finish. It has started. It's working. We can go ahead, we can close our online responder configuration. Let's go ahead and perform our fifth exercise, performing a CA backup. And as aptly stated in this exercise, we're going to back up the certificate authority. If you lose your CA, you could lose your entire PKI infrastructure. This will stop your users from logging on, using a VPN tunnel, accessing encrypted emails and files, as well as other issues. Therefore, you need to know how to back up and restore the CA so that you can quickly bring the CA up after a disaster. We're going to stay here on our SVR1. We're going to go ahead and open up our certification authority once more. Actually, it looks like I already had it running down there. Let's just go ahead and click on this one. We're going to go ahead and we're going to right click on the datum-lun-svr1-ca, and on all tasks we're going to select backup CA. Our backup wizard begins. We're going to click Next. On what we want to back up, we want to select the private key and CA certificate and the certificate database and certificate database log. Where do we want to back it up? Well, in this case, we're going to simply create a directory in the C drive. It's not there yet, so let's go to our Explorer, this PC, local disk, and let's make a file, or let's make a folder named back. And press enter. Okay, there's our backup directory. We're going to cancel that. We can just type it in. C:/BAK. Oh, got that backwards. We're going to click Next. Let's give it a password. Our default password we've been using for everything else. We're going to go ahead, we're going to click Next. We've successfully completed the wizard. When we click Finish, our backup will begin. That was quick. Since there's not much there, let's go back over in here to File Explorer. We're going to navigate to that C drive, to that back folder, and there is our database folder. Let's open that database folder. There is our backup. Here again, let's take another screenshot and paste into step number 9. You got that done? Okay, let's go ahead and close File Explorer. We're done with that exercise. All right, let's take a look at our lab challenge, which is managing administrative roles. So, for you to complete this challenge, you need to describe how to manage administrative roles for Active Directory certificate services by writing the high-level steps for the scenario we're going to describe. Because certificates and CAs are important security tools used for a company, you need to consider using separation of duties to maintain the security of the PKI infrastructure. You can use role-based administration to organize CA administrators into separate, predefined CA roles, each with their own set of tasks. How would you go about that? Write out the steps you perform to complete this challenge. I'm going to do it this way. So to do this, what I would do is I would assign the CA administrator role, and I do this by going to the Certificate Authority console. I'd right click and I'd go to Properties. In Properties, I'd go to Security. And I would grant the ability to allow manage the CA permissions to a user or group. You can specify who could manage or issue certificates, who can manage the CA, who can request certificates. For example, the domain administrator is allowed to issue and manage certificates or manage the CA. Enterprise administrators, the local administrator. However, you could specify a single user that maybe only is allowed to manage the CA instead of issue and manage certificates. Different ways to do different processes. Thank you for viewing Lab 11 in 70-742. I hope you enjoy these labs. If you do, thank you, and please subscribe. And as I always say, I'll see you in the next lab or lesson. Have a great one.